looking back at the past year, I think it was crazy that all of it went so fast. Even with my own marking ability, I did end up keeping the details of each unique day. But in hindsight, all of that went pretty quick in my opinion. But in the past year, what I'm definitely fond of is that I tried my best socially and broke down my own thing using metaphors and literal doings. And all of that feels crazy eventually to bottle all of that into YouTube videos and Instagram videos because that's essentially logging the whole day, put down to like 10 minutes at the end. That's like getting thunder in a water bottle or lava in a plastic water bottle. Each day is compressed with its details and pressed and grounded into the video. And in a paradoxical way, it does end up preventing me from entering certain groups because these videos have clarity. People would prefer the blur at this age in the teenage now. But it does prevent me from entering certain groups is that some people do depend on a lack of clarity and subjectiveness because, well, adolescence is different for everyone. And I'd say for other people, it is more intense. So for those people to end up not remembering it. But some stand on the opposite end, such as me, with full clarity because when they see that clarity, apart for them, hurts. But I think time will go slower with logging for me because I have to stop and think of the details in such a way for next year and the past year. It guarantees that anybody who logs in this manner will never truly be bored. Obviously, no one's going to use recording devices, but there will always be something to log, whether that's a sleeve cut using ChatGPT or a teacher acting crazy because people keep doing this. I don't have to survive each day anymore, I just have to make it interesting, which paradoxically forces me out of the social bubble of comfort. That's interesting in literary terms because people push out of their bubble just to grow. I gotta do it because the narrative would be boring, so I end up going in a direction similar to theirs. But in its own way, at the end, for these, what is already done, the sophomore year logs I did become its own data legacy of its own, both now and in the decades to come. Rich in detail because I treat it every day like a living village and a museum of that same village. And it's a monument to the time period, historically. And paradoxically, upon graduation, if I take the side quest legacy to the fullest, I might have more watchers later on, past school, from these years now, because 30 in this case, it ensures that there'd be a handful of this and that later on. But to switch topics, I would also find it important to mention those who were forgotten by the natural blur of humanity and people simply moving on. And those who want to. But the blur of high school is something everybody sees, but little as do people see who gets flown away or simply disappears and who was once there. I would like to credit these 5 people: Isabella, who graduated from school this year; John, who transferred out; Eli from Rayon's PE group during my PE logs of last year, who also moved out and assumably transferred as her; and Ella, of whom left due to undisclosed reason; and finally Allison, who transferred and left away, no reason to be given. But I would like to thank all these people for their contribution here and their personal lives to others and in the broader school community. Thank you for your service, peeps. Your own legacies will be carried on by others, and this video will not carry on your legacy, but will be a monument to what you all have once done. Thank you. And in baseball metaphor, to switch the topics again, I would also like to thank Novalia and Layla for giving us our first solo home run of the entire social season last year. And we'll put my metaphor team name as ADR and theirs as NOG for Novalia Layla group. Starting next season, metaphorically, their team will not be here because they already moved on. But I'll be standing as one single team, and every high school group in metaphor is their own. A metaphorical baseball team, football team, volleyball team, softball team, with their own managers, pitchers, batters, setters, and hitters. And essentially describes how friend group dynamics work in sport metaphor. I'm going to be entering as one team to assimilate into another team and eventually play with them. I'll create a unique augmentative later on. As for next week though, in baseball metaphor, first social conversation is gonna start pretty soon in the morning. From my operation in entering school early, I'm just going up to random people. Of course, people aren't baseball games, so not all groups will be put in this metaphor as intensely as intense is. But at the end, that also means I'm going to substance fights, my own social career, and I'll title that SEL when I do need to score against that. But in metaphor though, our first playouts, our first pitch is to start on August 5, 2026 at 7:20 in the morning.